started here.
So what are we doing?
We're just going to kind of do a season 2 recap. Just kind of like, honestly, I don't know. Hey,
Got it.
everybody. Welcome back to the Sacred Books of Britney Spears. I'm Aaron, and my co host, John Wayne, is joining me. Hey, buddy.
Hey, bud. What?
I don't know why that sounded very, I don't know. That sounded funny. So, first of all, is it raining where you are? Is it raining over at the library?
Yeah, it's been raining a lot.
So I've lost power at the church twice
Really?
in the last 24 hours. Yeah. Um, and then last night it was thunder. What's the verb? Thunder and lightning. Um,
Yes.
so much. If I didn't know it sounded like an avalanche,
Yeah.
just like this constant rolling, I don't know, thunder, it was so loud. And then every time I would look over at the window, it would just flash every couple minutes. I don't know in all my time here if I've ever seen that much lightning.
Yeah, I don't. This is the first time, like, I'm sure it has before, but that I can remember hear it thundering and lightning.
Yeah. Um, how was so this is going up. Yeah, so for everybody wondering, yeah, the Christmas episode or for everyone wondering, the Britmas episode was delayed a week. I I had some technical difficulties during the
Uh,
editing, but so that's actually going out this Wednesday, and then this episode is actually going to be going out at the beginning of the new year. So I thought, oh, you know what? I probably should have been more prepared. You know what? I'm going to edit this out. So, since this is going up, this is going to be sort of the last episode of the second season, but it's kind of the first episode of the new year, you know. This is
uh,
going up in 2021. What are your I don't know. How was your 2020?
well, I mean, I'm still alive, so there's that.
True.
I mean, nothing, nothing significant happened where I'm like, you know what, that made up for it. So nothing like phenomenal, like booking like the end all job or anything happened. So it's just kind of like, meh.
That's right. Now, so with your acting, are you still doing that?
Just local theater stuff, you know.
Right. Right. What would be considered a dream gig?
I guess like a, like a, let's see. I'm not much of a singer, so it would
Hmm.
probably be like a, because I was about to say musical, but
Hmm.
no, it would probably be, like a Neil Simon. He was a very,
Oh
I remember
yeah.
reading on his old stuff, which still
Yeah.
holds up to this day, I think.
Yeah.
But like doing one of his old timies, and kind of like traveling to all these forlorn cities across the what's left of the states,
Yeah.
um, and just performing and actually getting paid for that. That'd probably be the bee's knees.
Did you do, have you heard of, wait, Neil Simon, was he the odd couple?
I think he was an odd person. I don't know.
I
I
feel
think
like,
I think he did do that. Yeah.
yeah, that's a play that I had seen as a kid.
Mm.
My biological parents took me to see sort of an off Broadway version of that, which is really just another way of saying just some guys down the road doing it in their backyard. But
Right. Because Broadway Street's pretty rough. That's a pretty rough street.
pretty
So you
rough,
you want to
lot of
see it off
ditches.
Broadway for sure.
Absolutely.
Because if you saw it on Broadway, I'd question, how you got out of there. So
I could actually see you doing that. I could see you in that play, The Odd Couple.
yeah,
Yeah. I feel like you'd have to have the right partner, but
interesting.
Um, Interesting. Now, do you, because you mentioned it, would you, if you could sing, would you want to be in a musical? Do you like musicals? Do you have a favorite?
I think they are fun. Um, I think one of the more fun musicals I've seen was the one actually our friend, the other Aaron was in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that one about basically like that they put up usually around the Britmas,
Mm-hmm.
but it's basically about Britney and how her life, and like how
Yeah.
there was like she had like three different not fathers, if you will, but they're like three different father like figures in her life, and how they like would always show her around and like help her out throughout her life and raised
Right.
her. And yeah, I forgot. I think the name of the play is like My Only Wish or something like that. It was something like that.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. I could
yeah.
see you in that. Now, do you have a particular. Wait, is that something that you just enjoyed, or is that something you'd actually want to perform in?
I mean, I can't really. I don't think I'd be able to sing any of those types of songs in there, but I would
Right.
want to. I'm more of like the talking. There's a word for it,
Right.
but like the talking type musical stuff. We
Got
just
it.
like
Okay.
talk it out.
Right.
That might be fun.
Like rap?
No, 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 no. There's a word for it. I can't think of it. I'd have to read. I'd have to go through my books and
Got
look
it.
for it.
So is that a goal for you this year? Are you going to be, I mean, because, word on the horizon is the pandemic, maybe won't end, but obviously life will hopefully become easier as the vaccine gets more widespread. So,
Mm.
is that something you're going to pursue this year if you're able?
No, probably not.
Okay. It's good to have.
Is,
Okay.
is there something you're looking forward to pursuing?
I've actually been thinking about, well, two things.
Mm.
I think I do want to go back to school.
Oh yeah, like just like a local thing or like a like.
Um, Really, I want to just find the best school. I'm kind of obsessed. So I want to do a couple different things. I definitely want to, go to a theology school or a theology program, maybe sort of a trade theology program, and
Mm,
really expand my education of Brittany. Because
sure.
if anything that this year has taught me is that you know I know a lot, but there's still an opportunity to learn more. you
Right.
know and just as people can learn from us, I can learn from others. But also, I want to go to a trade school because without Bessie here, there's a lot of handiwork that's not getting done,
Oh
and
sure.
I don't really know enough about plumbing and electrical. So I kind of want to see if I can find maybe a jack of all trades kind
Right.
of
Right.
degree or program to I mean,
Yeah, I can
because
see
I mean,
that.
there's wings of the church that have had no power, no lights for several
Right.
weeks now because I just don't know how to change out a light fixture. So those are my two goals this year.
All right. Okay.
I figure, aim big.
Yeah, I mean that's more than me. So sounds good.
Do you? So, do you have any goals this year?
Man, I'm pretty simple. I stopped making goals because then I just figured out it was just things to break that I could just break. They just I'm like, oh, here, let me make a goal so I can look forward to smashing this goal.
Right. And
Because I usually don't follow through with my goals, so I'm like, what's the point in making a goal?
why do you think that is?
Because I'm kind of lazy, kind of procrastinate, kind of get stuck with what's comfortable and what's my surroundings. Like I'm like, oh, this is good. I'm okay here. I don't need to force myself to go, do this or that.
it's kind of, man, the pandemic has really, I feel like, exacerbated that. Not just for you, but for a lot of people, in that
Yeah.
there's, it's sort of quote unquote been an excuse, you know, because, a lot of the world has been shut down. So it's been easy to, put it off.
Sure.
I mean, a lot of ways. Fit. You know what? That's my one of my things is fitness. I've definitely slacked on fitness. I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that I can barely wrap my robes, my ceremonial robes, which, I mean, I don't wear that often,
Right.
but I still do. I still like to go
Yeah.
downstairs and pretend, and use my imagination and pretend I'm speaking to the throngs of people. And the fact that a few of my robes barely close,
Yeah.
that's, you know, that's a problem. I mean, so that's one of my goals this year, is at the bare minimum for my robes to be able to close. It would be nice if
Okay.
they could wrap around my body like they used to, but at the bare minimum that they
Yeah.
close.
You know, just set a small goal,
Yeah.
and then when you meet that, you can. I mean, I don't know why I'm here giving advice because I'm horrible at scratching off goals.
Do you
Terrible.
think, do you have, so forget goals,
Uh,
but let's say hypothetically anything was available to you. Is there something this year that you would like to change?
uh, Man, you're asking me some big questions. I wasn't prepared for all this. You didn't really explain what we were going to be chit chatting about over here. Um, I don't know. Well, let's start with you because I'm not prepared for this. Is there stuff in your life that you're wanting to change, or that you want to change, or that you're looking forward to changing?
Yeah, I think so yeah, again, assuming that I have the power and I'm not worried about, doing it or not doing it or how big or small,
Mm,
which has also been my dating life. I feel like the weight is definitely something that I would love to tackle this year. You know,
sure. So that's
I
your
really,
goal, but also something you'd like to change. But that's like the same thing.
no, exactly. Like, I know it's going to be hard because I've been trying to do it for the last few years, but
Yeah.
I would love to enter 2022. I'm not even saying slimmer or look a certain way. I would just like to be healthier, you know?
Yeah.
And actually, you know what? As sort of the flip side of that coin, I feel like there's a, there's an amazing Instagram account that follows us. And hold up, let me find her. Her name is Cherish Music. Okay.
Oh, I know Cherish. Yeah.
Yes. I love her Instagram account.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Very positive, very
Yes.
body positive,
Yes.
and obviously I still have a lot of work to do for myself as far as my own body image. But seeing accounts like her really inspire me
Yeah.
because, it helps me inch closer to accepting myself.
Yeah.
But I can love myself, but I can still also work towards being healthier, because I'm
Right.
not healthy, or I should say I don't have healthy habits. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm headed.
Before you went through all that and mentioned Cherish, um, it's funny because one of the things I guess I think about changing, or sometimes I wish I could change, but it just feels like it's part of my personality at this time. But like, it's just the idea that I kind of have a different thought process than other people. Like I can tend to be a little negative. I can tend to be a little pessimistic.
Really?
And shut up. I don't know. I feel like that's sarcasm. But I mean, I've accepted it and I'm okay with it. But I can feel that it's people always talk about surround yourself with positivity, surround yourself with positive thinking, or people that you want to be around. And I'm like, sometimes I'm a smart enough guy that I know I'm like, yeah, sometimes it's like especially with Natalie, I can always tell. I'm like, oh yeah, she doesn't like this. She doesn't like to hear realism. Like I call it realism, but
What does she call it?
I mean, I don't know what she calls it, but I can feel that she doesn't like the energy. Like she thinks of it as a different energy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like oh, I'm not positive, or I'm not. Like some people like, oh, things can like this will be different, or like if you think of it like in a different way. Like, yeah, I guess it's hard for me to fathom that if like I think something's gonna happen, that it will happen for me,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, just because I think it doesn't gonna make it happen. And that's like, it's just how I think. I'm like, I can't, like, if your thought process is correct, it's like, oh, I'm gonna win $1 million. If I just sit here and think I'm gonna win $1 million, I'm gonna win $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, nah, that's not how it works.
Oh,
At least not for me. I just can't fathom that existing. I guess I appreciate positivity. I appreciate people thinking like positively
mm-hmm.
and sending out those vibes. I guess it's hard for me to, I don't know, to accept, to think, you know. I guess it's, for me, it's also like religion.
Okay.
And that's why I think I was very hard to accept, Britney. And I think I still struggle with that as well to this day. But it's hard for me to accept that something that doesn't exist exists, and that someone could
Right.
put their full faith in something and just be like, no, 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 they'll take care of me. And I'm like, who? The thing that you've never seen or never existed? It's an example of positive thought. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why religion is as popular as it is people believe, because it's like it's like your problems aren't just yours. It's you're in this non-existent, to some, this other person, this higher being in your life, they actually help you control that. And if you just think of it like, oh, I'm not alone, or they're going to help me with this problem that they may or may not actually be helping me with, but in your mind, you're convinced yourself that you're being helped or that they're around, that maybe that alleviates some of the stress
Right.
that you might feel, or might, I don't know. I don't know if
Well,
any of that rambling makes any sense, but
no, it does. Well, so you know what's interesting is that you know the thing about Brittanianity is that we are not about, or she is not about, or this religion is not about. Sort of, back in the day, there were religions a long time ago where, in order to find meaning or in order to benefit from it, you had to believe that this other thing, this other person, this other spirit controlled your life and you had to obey them, and that your life was guided by external forces. Okay.
mm-hmm.
Whereas Brittany is like, no, son, it's all about you. Like, here are my thoughts. Here are my lessons that I can teach you through my words.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, you have free will. You're able to. So, like, if your life sucks, that's on you. If your life is amazing, that's also on you. And the funny thing is, we know now that that's really what I think many of those older religions were based upon, but they kind of got twisted and turned over the years, by a
Sure.
lot of different reasons. So, I mean, I suspect back in the day, Brittanianity, say 2,000 years ago, Brittanianity would probably be closer to, say, something like a TED Talk, really,
Mm-hmm.
a collection of lessons based on experience.
Sure.
But, also, don't forget to read the fine print. Brittanianity will not be held responsible for you being an idiot. Uh, don't come knocking on the door if, you know, because it's on you, because you have to make your own. Like my, my weight loss or lack thereof
Mm.
is not on her. That's on my choices. It's not,
Sure.
why, Brittany, why, I pray to you for this. No, that's not what it is. Like, I don't pray to her for that because she's not going to give me that, you know?
No, but I think someone might pray to them for the strength, or help me with this,
True.
or give me the whatever someone might ask for help
Right.
with. But,
And then she'll do what she always does. Book 3, chapter 4, book 2, chapter 1, it's right there. It's hard though because it's hard to listen because sometimes you don't want to hear. I think we've all been that way, right? Where have you ever been in that situation? For example, someone asks for advice and you give
Mm,
it to them, and it's not even like you don't know the answer. You know the answer. You're like, no, no, this is what you need to do. But then they still kind of waffle. I mean, I guess it's kind of like what you talked about with, or I don't know if it's exactly like when you said that hypothetically someone asks you your opinion on photographs, and
sure.
you give them, and then they ignore you, you know.
No, no, it's like going to the restaurant and you're like, "What do you recommend?" And they say, "Oh, I recommend the burrito." And they're like, "All right, I'll have the enchiladas." Like, what the fuck did you even ask me for? Son of a bitch.
Exactly like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or asking me how this works at the Japanese barbecue restaurant, and I explain it
Hmm.
for 15 minutes, and then you at the end ask me, "Wait, so what if I just want you to cook my food?"
Hmm.
Bitch, I just spent 15 minutes telling you how to cook your own damn food with the big hot grill in the middle of the table.
Yeah,
Look at that kitchen over there. Do you see how small it is? They can't cook shit in there.
can't cook shit, man. Just don't know.
So,
Yeah.
well, do you think that what's like one small thing you could do this year that would not change for the better as if you're bad, but what's one thing that you could do as far as your positivity? One small thing.
I don't know, man. You're asking me hard hitting interview questions like I'm a politician or something. These are like deep down, like, let me change my life internally. I know what I need to do to get better, but I don't actually know.
Okay, well,
I
you know what?
don't.
We'll
I,
rev- It's
huh?
okay. We'll revisit this in season 3. That way you have a few months to figure out.
Uh,
Was there? I know that we've recorded episodes like in batches, and then we might wait a couple weeks. But what was your journey like in season 2? How did these last few months go for you? Did you learn anything?
uh, I mean, each chapter was always something new. I mean, for me to jump in and pick one out, I mean, I'm sure I learned a few things along the way. Obviously, I just don't. um, I guess. I mean, just because you learn something new doesn't mean it's something that necessarily it's going to stick with you. I think
Okay.
I and I say that because it's leading into what I was going to say as far as like with what we've been talking about, like changing, like change.
Right.
So like let's say I learned something new in maybe in chapter 2 this season, book 2 chapter 2. Um I wish I could recall what that right now, but for instance, hypothetically, for whatever it was, maybe, but if I don't practice what I learned,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to stick with me. I think practicing things and it's the whole concept that like if you do something for like 3 months in a row, then it becomes a habit. And I think that's the important thing, that no matter what is that you have to do the things, and it's having that strength and that will. But it for me, I think it's gathering where does that strength and that will come from to be repetitive enough to keep doing the same thing that I don't feel is working,
Right.
whether it's waking up at 6 a.m. every day and becoming and getting in this habit of going to the gym every day, whether it's for 10 minutes or it's 40 minutes, but as long as you make it there at some point during that day, then boom, you've done your task. Oh, I made it to the gym. I did a couple exercises, not as many as I wanted, but I went.
Right.
So it's just like if there's something I learned this season, I think it would be just to have patience, be open,
Yeah.
um, just know that everyone's on their own path, that everyone needs a little space,
Mm-hmm.
and that we're all different, whether it's an old relationship or a new relationship, and whether it's a relationship with an actual person or a relationship with a spiritual relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be patient and to know that eventually it'll all come around and everything's gonna work out.
Dude, totally. I mean,
And
for example, with me, my first, a huge step would be actually going to the gym and working out for, you know, 45 minutes, 4 days a week. So I know that I would probably fail if that was my first
sure, but
goal.
see,
So my first,
that's why you need it's always about baby steps.
absolutely.
It's
So
like
I could
setting
say,
up that. Go ahead.
well, I was going to say, so my first goal could be, going to the gym,
Yeah,
like physically, like actually driving there, not going in, but just like driving there.
yeah,
But then it's like, okay, well then I would need a car. Okay. So then, what about what about, and then what would I wear? So maybe my first baby step is getting a new pair of shoes to actually
yeah,
go there. And so then it's a matter of finding the time to do that. And
yeah.
so, yeah, you're right. It's all about baby steps.
I think a lot of us fail in doing certain things. Me specifically, is because I don't set small enough task,
Right.
maybe, or like my goals are too big, or not clear, specific enough, perhaps.
No, absolutely. Because I mean, at some point, if I'm gonna purchase shoes, then I need to wake up during business hours. So then it's like, okay, well, maybe my goal is to actually wake up during business hours.
Sure. Yeah.
Which right now would be a huge goal. I
Right.
mean, doing a lot of mining and crafting on the computer. You know,
And that's so.
so
But what people need to know is that that's okay as well. Like it's
absolutely,
okay to do what you want to do. And as long as everything's in moderation.
yeah. And as long as you're not hurting anyone else.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, absolutely. Um, it's gonna
So
be.
obviously, my question to you has to be the same that you asked me. Like from this season two,
Yeah.
what's going to be your big takeaway? What was the greatest thing you learned during this
You know what
season,
I
this
will
this
say?
book?
I actually thought about this before we started, which is probably unfair. I probably should have told you what I was going to ask, but I was
All right.
I was on the can and I was thinking about this and I realized I think my biggest lesson for season 2
Hmm.
is sort of, combined with season 1, so big lesson for 2020 for
Yeah.
4001 is that obviously you have to be able to adapt because the isn't it weird? We only recorded what, six, maybe 7 or 8 episodes
Oof.
live in person. Where you would come over to the church.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And but it's so funny because we've recorded almost 34, 35 by the time this goes up,
Yeah.
and for some reason though, those initial 8 are still very vivid to me because we
Yeah.
had so much fun. And there was a period of time where it was kind of clunky trying to figure out how to record this remotely,
Yeah.
but we did it. And now it seems very natural. Don't get me wrong. I would love to record in person again, but we adapted. But
Mm.
also when Bessie Joe left, that, for a little while that threw me for a loop. I really wasn't sure. I was very obviously happy for her and I wanted the best for her, but I was
Yeah.
also shaken a little bit. And I really worried. And I kind of compensated by having several guests on in a row. But I remember the first episode that you and I did, just you and and I
Mm.
had a lot of fun. And I realized,
Yeah.
you know, a couple things. Life goes on. You have to be able to adapt. In general, things will be okay. Meaning, oftentimes, like the worst thing in our mind is not even close to reality as far as what could come true.
Right.
Yeah. So that's sort of and even just the pandemic. Really being able to adapt. That was a challenge early on. It kind of became easier, and it's kind of becoming a challenge again. I mean, I'm getting a little cramped up in here, not cramped, but a little cooped up in here. But I've been going on walks. I've been trying to go outside a little bit just to sort of reconnect with the
Yeah.
world and nature, you know?
Right.
So,
That's good. It's a
yeah.
start.
That's something that yeah, I'm taking away. So,
Nice.
yeah. Well, do you have any I feel like it's just a tennis ball. We're going back and forth with like variations of the same question. But I've really enjoyed another season of getting to know you further, man.
Thank you. I mean, it's been fun.
Yeah. It's interesting how, yeah, I mean, you started off the year single, you're ending the year not only in a relationship, but it's been a while now, and you're living together, you know, and you have a cat.
Yeah. I mean, it's all. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. You're saying a lot of things that I'm like, they're kind of halvesies. Like we are living together, but it doesn't seem like we're living together for the most part.
Right, right,
And I have a cat, but it's not really my cat, and I don't really care about it, but it's
right.
it's around.
Which is ironic, obviously, the cat being the, you know, having the soul of your wife in
I
it.
mean, you guys say that. You wanna,
It's a lot of evidence pointing in that direction, but
okay.
still. And then I started off with an amazing roommate, and now I'm all alone. And but her legacy still lingers on because I am
Mm,
very cautious walking around corners, and I
yeah,
still have to check under my bed, and I still have to, you know, check the kitchen cabinets.
right.
Um, yeah,
Well, you'll make it through.
I will. We all will. Um, well, hey everybody. Yeah, we just kind of wanted to come on here and, you know, like I said, it was sort of the end of season 2, but also the beginning of the new year, and figured take an opportunity to sort of recap a little bit. We hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's staying safe. And do you have any plans for the new year?
I don't. I mean, I don't. I'm pretty boring, basic dude. I don't really care to be. I don't know. Especially this New Year's. Like, what are you gonna do?
That's true. I guess it's kind of one of those ironies, right? Because New
Mm.
Year is often celebrated with drinking.
I'll definitely drink. I mean, that's
Oh,
not a
got it.
question. I'm never
Right.
not drinking, really. So, yeah, I'll
So I
be
guess
hopefully obliterated. What?
you're just celebrating your own way.
Sure.
Yeah. Well,
Yes,
hey
sir.
everybody. I hope you find your way to celebrate the new year. Careful of those ditches, though. You know,
Mhm.
please watch out.
Yeah, don't drink and walk without a friend.
Absolutely. We will see you back. We're not exactly sure. Maybe sometime mid to late March, maybe early April, we'll come back for season 3. But everybody stay safe. You're loved. Brittany loves you. And yeah, we'll see you around.
Yeah. See ya.